The atmosphere at London's Palladium is electric with tension these days. Word has it that Jamie Lloyd's highly anticipated Evita revival has transformed from an exciting creative endeavor into what industry insiders are calling a backstage nightmare. At the center of this theatrical storm stands Rachel Zegler, whose alleged behavior has apparently rewritten the playbook on what it means to be a difficult star. Fair warning though, everything you're about to hear comes from unnamed sources and remains unverified. Rehearsals reportedly kicked off with Zegler strolling in fashionably late, latte in hand, while the rest of the cast had been waiting since the 9 a.m. call time. This tardiness wasn't just a one-off either. Sources claim it quickly became a pattern. When Zegler finally made her entrances, she'd allegedly arrive wearing noise-canceling headphones, tossing casual greetings to no one in particular, before unpacking what one stage manager described as a mini altar of vocal warm-up gear, including a portable humidifier, premium honey, and a crystal water bottle that had supposedly been charged under moonlight. The real drama allegedly ignited when Lloyd attempted to provide direction on blocking, only to have Zegler interrupt and explain her own vision of how Eva Peron would command the space. According to one ensemble member, the message was clear: she directs now. This dynamic apparently intensified when Zegler halted a company run-through mid-number, declaring that the creative frequency felt off before walking straight out, leaving everyone frozen on stage like glitching animatronics. What's particularly fascinating is the contrast between these backstage rumors and Zegler's carefully curated social media presence. While theater Twitter buzzes with whispers of late arrivals and dramatic exits, her Instagram portrays the serene journey of a dedicated artist channeling Eva's fire. Her fanbase has fractured into two camps: those who see her as a misunderstood, artistic genius, and those wondering if the show should be renamed Waiting for Rachel. The tension is palpable. Reportedly, tensions escalated during rehearsals for Don't Cry for Me Argentina. Lloyd, known for his minimalist approach, envisioned Eva standing completely still, letting her voice carry the emotional weight while the ensemble created a living frame around her. Zegler allegedly responded with a quiet but firm, "I don't think so," before launching into what witnesses described as an impromptu masterclass on how the scene should be performed, complete with dramatic arm movements and sweeping gestures, and a more dynamic physical presence. This clash of visions reached its boiling point when Lloyd gently reminded everyone about the importance of trusting the director's vision. Zegler's reported response has apparently become legendary among the cast. "A blueprint is a suggestion. History is what we build in the moment. Cast a blueprint is a suggestion. History is what we build in the moment." One dancer quipped that they were essentially improvising a skyscraper and just hoping the foundation would hold. By week's end, the ensemble had allegedly created a running joke in their group chat. Eva O, lighthearted on the surface, but masking a growing concern that the production was becoming unmoored. As one crew member put it, the show was evolving into Frankenstein, constantly being stitched together, only to have a limb fall off the next day. Even Lloyd's legendary calm was reportedly wearing thin, with the director allegedly ending one late-night session by muttering, "We're hurting thunder." A crack in the facade, odd, but it sent ripples through the entire production. The situation deteriorated further when a mandatory closed-door meeting was called, attended by director Jamie Lloyd, producers, a union representative, and legal counsel on speakerphone. Though details remained confidential, whispers spread faster than a quick costume change. Lawyers reportedly examined Zegler's contract clause by clause, searching for language around unprofessional conduct and material interference. The phrase "pattern of disruption" allegedly surfaced multiple times, followed by the haunting question, does this qualify as breach? Financial concerns appeared to dominate the discussion, as producers presented troubling numbers on ticket pre-sales versus projected break-even points. One attendee supposedly summarized the dilemma as choosing between two poisons: either drink the PR fallout of firing a headline name or risk bleeding cash if the backstage chaos hits preview. Perhaps most telling was the contingency chatter. Within 48 hours of the meeting, casting agencies received discreet inquiries about the availability of powerhouse mezzo-sopranos with Latin flair, aged 20 and 35. Connect those dots, and you've got a clear picture of a production in crisis. A silhouette that looked suspiciously Eva-shaped began to form. Meanwhile, Zegler's public relations machine kicked into overdrive. Her Instagram feed became filled with amber-tinted rehearsal snapshots, captioned with poetic musings about finding Ava's heartbeat in the stillness between notes. This provoked eye rolls from cast members, one reportedly commenting, "Between notes? Sis, you skipped half the song." A teary-eyed selfie video soon followed, in which Zegler reflected on the weight of leading and the cost of artistic honesty. Theater Twitter promptly split in two. Supporters praised her vulnerability, while skeptics labeled it a main character meltdown disguised as PR. One viral response simply read, "Girl, the cost is over budget tech weeks." The commercial. Implications became impossible to ignore when promotional emails for Evita began resembling a clearance sale. Premium seats that should have sold during pre-sale lingered conspicuously, with dynamic pricing quietly dropping into "please just fill the row" territory. Producers attempted to spin this as a delayed marketing push, standard for high-profile revivals, but few were buying the narrative. Abstract stagings weren't fooling industry insiders, especially when rival shows, despite having half the social media buzz, were posting near-capacity sales. One ticket tracking site, obsessively refreshed by Broadway bloggers, showed Evita's orchestra section resembling a checkerboard, with far more green available than red sold. Behind the scenes, marketing pivoted to spotlighting the ensemble's brilliance, with teaser clips highlighting the dancers and chorus. Admirable strategy, except audiences generally buy tickets to see Ava, not the ensemble. Meanwhile, budget cuts were starting to make their presence felt. Reportedly, this was followed by wardrobe assistants whispering about deferred allocations for quick change technology and orchestra contractors allegedly offering reduced-rate rehearsals until castability was confirmed. The most ominous sign came when a major ticket broker quietly emailed customers a flex refund option, industry code for "we might need an escape hatch." Shalon agents reported receiving availability checks for performers who could potentially step into the role. A recent Olivier nominee, a Netflix breakout star with classical training, and even discussions about bringing back a veteran who once. Understood, Elena Rogers' addresser allegedly snapped a photo of a casting office binder tab labeled Plan B and captioned it, "Emergency Evas, choose your fighter," on a private social media story. Though the post disappeared quickly, the shot circulated among theater insiders. Not everyone was ready to abandon ship, however. A vocal coach close to the production insisted Ziegler's raw talent was an absolute cannon waiting for alignment, predicting that once opening night pressure hit, she would channel the tension into volcanic brilliance. Even an exhausted ensemble member admitted off record, "When Rachel locks in, the hair on your arm stands up. We just wish she'd lock in before the lunch break." Beyond the podium, the industry watched with morbid fascination as other directors quietly recalibrated their own projects. One West End producer reportedly delayed a casting announcement until the Evita dust settled. Diplomatic speak for reputations are contagious. Broadway gossip boards debated whether this saga signaled the end of Hollywood first stunt casting or would merely become a cautionary footnote. The central question evolved: how many social media followers equal reliable curtain calls? And at what point does celebrity heat start melting the production infrastructure? Three possible scenarios loomed over the production like alternate endings, waiting in the wings. In the first, Zegler harnesses the chaos, delivering a performance so magnificent on opening night that critics forget the rehearsal drama ever happened, and the narrative flips from diva disaster to Phoenix Rising. The second scenario involves the contingency file sliding out of the drawer, papers getting signed, and a new Eva stepping into the role with a heroic 2-week crash course, while the press spins it as the third and most dreaded possibility: nobody makes the hard call. Previews stumble forward under a cloud of tension. Opening night becomes a blood sport of real-time social media commentary, and investors grimace over refund totals. The production's internal dynamics developed their own vocabulary. Zegler adjustment became shorthand for rewriting lighting. Cues because yesterday's blocking was now spiritually outdated. Rope masters allegedly labeled spare equipment contingency RZ'd, while the ensemble reportedly memorized 2 versions of every scene: Director's Plan A and the Rachel remix. One dancer described it as keeping both alive, like twins in separate incubators. Coffee runs now included an extra tray labeled morale shots, pure espresso for whoever had just been steamrolled by a spontaneous motif reinterpretation. What makes Mamma Diva this saga particularly compelling? What makes this saga particularly compelling is how it exposes the fragile ecosystem of theatrical production. When a director's canvas keeps disappearing beneath constant repainting, when legal teams parse contracts for breach clauses, when discount codes multiply before Tech Week even locks, these become visible cracks in an industry built on the illusion of seamless collaboration. Theater thrives on the chemistry between vision and execution, between individual brilliance and collective precision. When that chemistry combusts, everyone feels the heat, from investors checking ticket projections to dressers worried about overtime hours. The financial realities grew increasingly stark, as one insider leaked that slide decks now featured a metric labeled pre-preview attrition risk, essentially measuring how many patrons might bail before they ever scan a ticket. Marketing teams struggled to counter the narrative with their attempts to highlight the ensemble. Excellence landed like perfume on a barn fire when headlines shouted chaos. Even the orchestra contractor reportedly offered reduced rehearsal rates. Until cast stability was confirmed, financial speak for "we're hedging our bets." Meanwhile, Zegler's team attempted damage control by releasing a carefully worded statement to a theater blog, claiming that creative intensity was being mischaracterized as discord. Unfortunately for them, the blog appended a box office chart directly underneath, highlighting steep promotional code usage. Screenshots circulated of allegedly deleted comments on Zegler's social posts, where fans directly asked about rehearsal walkouts. The deletions backfired spectacularly when Watchdog app accounts archived and reposted everything. As the drama continues to unfold, theater aficionados remain divided. Some argue that genuine artistic passion often manifests as intensity, a boundary-pushing quality that performers throughout history have used to challenge directors and emerge with revolutionary interpretations. Others counter that collaborative art forms require mutual respect and punctuality, that no individual brilliance justifies holding an entire production hostage. But what is certain is that everyone is watching, from Broadway veterans to social media lurkers, all wondering whether we're witnessing a career-defining triumph in the making or an expensive cautionary tale. Until the curtain rises on opening night, the verdict remains unwritten. But the drama backstage has already delivered more plot twists than anything the audience is likely to see.